Oh my goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is Friday, March 31st, 2017. I am NovaWar here with two fine gentlemen, prepared to talk about many a topic, sometimes screaming, sometimes whispering sexually, and sometimes we just talk normally, but it doesn't happen that often. You can hope, though. Hope everybody's doing well. Today, let's head on over. Let's press the button and see if everything is working as it should be. This is always the big reveal. Will everything be okay? Ho ho ho! It is! I mean, Panic is kissing the right-hand side, and I fucking you right now, but that's alright.
That's kind of creepy.
Oh,
that's kind of creepy.
I didn't fix my white balance. YOLO. We're going blue tones today, boys. Get your blue tones. Jeff and I got those blue tones going. I'm not messing with that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
How are you gentlemen doing? Mr. Black, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just finished the small little streamy, and now I'm ready to get on this podcast tip. You know, I am looking forward to every Friday because the podcast is like just I finally have a sense of structure to my week, even though it is only a 2-hour slot. It just feels
it's
so
like
nice.
One day, 2 hours, but that's enough structure to make you feel kind of good.
And I think I'm extra happy today because everything. The Trailer Park Boys season 11 comes out. It actually came out today, and I haven't watched any of it yet. So after I'm done this podcast, I'm gonna go and binge watch a bunch of Trailer Park Boys, and yeah, so that's what's up.
Oh, Bubbles, something fucky. So I have to ask. You left the room. You came back looking like one of those Starcraft casters where you're best. Fucking
holy
fuck,
Ricky.
Ricky.
Fuck, Ricky.
Holy fuck,
Jesus.
Ricky.
Fuck.
Hey, fuck.
Oh, we're gonna have some class on this podcast.
That played to absolutely nobody but those who can actually see video, but that's okay. We tried. I don't think the impersonation was actually worth, but we gave it a shot. Is that a Yu-Gi-Oh card in your pocket, Jeff, or are you just happy to see me?
That's a Yu-Gi-Oh card. You just released my trap can.
Yu-Gi boy. I was gonna say, is that
so? What was the process?
Is that part of
putting that on?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. For the ones that are listening to this via, iTunes, make sure you go and give us that 5-star rating. Shout out to the ones that give us that 5-star rating and those beautiful reviews. You guys have no idea how much that shit helps out. So head on over to iTunes right now and give us that 5-star rating because you love us. But for those that are listening just on audio, you're not watching this live on Twitch or watching this on YouTube. And maybe those that watch this on iTunes don't even know it's on YouTube because it is. YouTube.com/LAGTV. I've made a vow that every week I'm going to wear a blazer or a sports jacket. So every week you get to see what kind of fly-ass jacket I wear this week. Now, right now I'm going through my own personal wardrobe. Some of these jackets are not the cheapest, so I can't go out and get a new one of these every week, unless this podcast is doing hella well. But
that fucking Goodwill, bro.
I'm going up to the Value Village, the thrift stores, and I'm gonna just try and get the most fly, weird. I'm gonna be the Don Cherry of the technical alpha.
This is the first technical alpha related video that I wasn't wearing the horizontal stripe sweater. Literally every single one so far. I actually considered doing it where I would wear the same sweater every single week and see how long it took before people were like, wait a minute, the fuck is going on over here? Then I was like, nah, that's messed up. I should probably wear something else.
I can go about 2 or 3 months without having to show the same jacket every week, so got a lot of gaming jackets.
Yeah. Well, since you're talking, how you doing? How you doing today? I didn't get around to asking you because we got Jeff go on about his jackets.
Had a relatively long day, but excited to be here. I'm pretty excited for the topics we got going on today.
We've got exciting topics. We do. But before before we go, I'm gonna go through so I can get into the rhythm because Jeff did it, but I'm supposed to be doing it in the opening, and I'm still getting into this rhythm. So we're gonna do the sellout one more time, but before we do, Mr. Black.
Yeah.
Hit me up with the noise of getting your Nintendo Switch, and you're so excited because, well, it's a new console. But you want to really, really get the party games going. The boys are coming over for UFC. Everybody's like 14 drinks deep. Somebody's already smashed a 40, and they're getting ready to watch Ronda Rousey lose for the 86th time in a row. And you got to pass the time because the prelims just aren't hitting you just right. So you pull out the Switch, and you're like, oh shit, I need more controllers. So you go to the Walmart. Hit me up with the noise of opening the doors at the Walmart, walking over to the electronics section, and seeing that a Joy-Con set is $100 fucking Canadian dollars.
All right, boys. Yo, I'll be right back. I'm just going to head over to Walmart. I'm going to go grab some of these shit controllers. Do you guys want anything at the liquor store? Nah, I'm good, man. We got plenty of beer here, man. Just fill up the keg. All right, I'm out. All right. So I'm going to Walmart here. I'm going to Walmart. Oh, Walmart. Oh, okay. Well, it's not too busy in here. Let me go over to the electronics section. God damn it. Where's the electronics section? I feel like they've changed the electronics section in this fucking store every single time I go into this fucking store. So, hey, you know where that electronics section is? Yeah, it's down there in the back right there by the shitter. All right. All right. I'll be right back. All right. So, what the 100? No, fuck that. I'm good. I'm going to go sell my Nintendo Switch for $9,000 on Kijiji. I'm out of here. See you, boys.
Fuck! Dude, I was at the Walmart today doing, yeah, there you go. Yeah, you got your little switcheroo there. But
that was the longest sound ever.
Well, it was the longest sound ever.
It was the longest, give me that sound
the
ever,
lead
too.
up, yeah. You got to have some framing for the folks at home. But yeah, so they we went in, and I went into the back, and I was like, I wonder if there's a Switch here. Not because I was going to buy it, because fuck that. But I was looking, I was like, you know what? I want to see if they actually have stock in. So I go to the back. No, of course, there's not, all the shelves are bare as all hell, except for there's like 50,000 copies of Milk Your Cow. And then I saw this one Joy-Con set, and I saw the price on it. It was like $99 before tax, and I was like, oh, you have got to be fucking me right now. What? Why? Why is it $100 for a freaking controller? Why?
Doesn't matter. Had Zelda.
Well, here's the thing. We're gonna stop talking about Nintendo Switch because we've got all kinds of great things to talk about.
No, I know. I'm just shooting the shit. We got real topics. You know what our first topic is already? I already got it up in the patch notes because I didn't want to forget, like I've been doing. We got that up. We're talking about something that we couldn't have had better serendipitous timing last week, gentlemen. Talking about StarCraft. At the time, we were calling it Brood War HD. And lo and behold, it is not just Brood War getting necessarily the treatment, but it's just called StarCraft Remastered. It's well, it's pretty much exactly what we were talking about when we were talking about what we wanted to have happen and what we thought would never actually happen because we never thought Blizzard could pull it off. But here we are, and they did it. And so I'm gonna let Jeff take the podium on this one first. I'm gonna let him give her a go, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But Mr. Black, last week you gave an impassioned view on many things StarCraft related, and I would like you to tell us how you really feel, and then tell us how you feel about this release because it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. It's not exactly what I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to get a StarCraft Brood War in the StarCraft 2 engine and remastered that way. So I was expecting all the units, everything to be reimagined, so to speak, through the StarCraft 2 engine. That's not what we're getting, to my knowledge. We are getting basically a facelift on the original units and all that jazz. It's basically the original StarCraft in HD, which isn't a bad thing. I'm not complaining. I was a little disappointed when I heard that, and not because I think that the old game looks terrible. It's still a fun game. I just played Brood War. What was it, like 6 months? Not longer than 6 months, but 9 months ago. I played for the first time. I played all of the campaigns and all that stuff. Yeah. And the game holds up. It's not the graphics that hold it back, but I just thought we were going to get a newer version of the game. So beyond that, I'm still very, very excited. I think it is a phenomenal gesture to the fans. I'm gonna be a little jaded when I say I think we're only getting this because they have to give this to us now. I think they realize, and I think they've been realizing this for a while, but StarCraft 2 is done. It's on its way out. When I say done, it's not over. There'll always be a scene there, but in terms of it being a viable scene where you're going to attract new players, new commentators, new personalities, even new players, that is pretty much nil. I was just at Best Buy. I took a picture of it, and I thought I had posted on my Instagram, but obviously the Wi-Fi wasn't working at the Best Buy. But I had taken a picture of the StarCraft 2, it was like Legacy of the Void, Wings of Liberty, Heart of the Swarm. It's like a 3-pack, and it was $69. And I took a picture of it, and
wow.
I filled it out and everything, and I was like, this should be free to play. Like, what the hell? And I'm just happy now that we are getting a free-to-play StarCraft 2, right? I think so. I think it's going free-to-play completely.
I don't think so. Isn't it only the remastered stuff where you have the option of free Brood War with that isn't HD? Like they're giving you the free option if you don't want all the fanciful paint job. Yeah,
I knew
you
that.
Want the rest of it.
I thought
StarCraft
and maybe,
2. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I'm getting my information wrong because I didn't look too much into it. Maybe the chat can confirm.
The original StarCraft.
I know the original StarCraft is free. You can play that now. But I thought the StarCraft 2 was also going free to play in terms of multiplayer.
That would have been impressive. I don't think
so.
They did that.
Okay,
though.
Well then, if it's not, then what the fuck? It should be free to play. The game should be going free to play. They should have made StarCraft 2 go free to play a while ago, and then made money off things like those covert ops missions and selling those voice packs. I know Total Biscuit just released one himself and got other people to do it. But I know we're talking about, StarCraft Brood War HD here, and so I'll keep it on that topic. But I feel like this is the right direction. This is going to be the StarCraft 2 killer. The reason being is not only does StarCraft 2 have this dead meme over it. There's this dead meme cloud just wherever StarCraft 2 goes. There's always somebody. It's like dead game, dead game, dead game.
Dead game.
And
dead game.
Brood War has never had that. The game has been out since I've been a real gamer, and it has never really been called a dead game. It doesn't have that negativity around it. And I think that any game that was coming out against StarCraft 2, there was an automatic war. There was these people on their high horses that were like, StarCraft 2 is a harder game, it's this, it's that. And now we're going to have that war again. It's going to multiply. It's going to exponentially grow.
It's already started.
Where the StarCraft 2 fanboys, the ones that never got into Brood War, the ones that, have stayed loyal to the game, have dumped all these hours into StarCraft 2, they are going to hate on Brood War. They're going to say it's a shittier game, it looks terrible, all this other stuff, and it's going to be a war
too. It's hilarious because it's happening in both camps. You've got people who are basically, this is how I've seen it for the most part. Obviously, you can never paint everything with the same brush, but for the most part, it goes a little something like this. Are you old enough to have played Brood War actually? Like, not just kind of played it, you were so young that you played it and you didn't even beat the first level, but honest to goodness, play Brood War. If you're in that camp, odds are you probably have a leaning to, whether it's because of rose-tinted glasses or you honest to goodness think that Brood War has the upper hand against StarCraft 2, you're in that camp. And then if you aren't in that camp, then you're leaning towards StarCraft 2 because there's a good shot that StarCraft 2 is your first StarCraft, or it's the first one that you were old enough to get into and play heavily and enjoy at that level. And now we're getting the two sides that are like, no, get off my lawn, Brood Wars, fucking, it's the shit, it's the greatest thing ever. And StarCraft 2 is going, yeah, but I don't want to, have to worry about unit groups, and holy shit, my probes don't go to the mineral line automatically, and Dragoons run in circles for 45 minutes, and And both sides have valid reasons. It's just unfortunate because you're talking about two games from two wildly different generations in the RTS realm. You've got one which defined the current generation of RTS, and one that defined the last or 2 or 3 generations ago of RTS, and to compare them directly is absolutely insane.
That's kind of where there's going to be a huge problem. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, and I'll butt in and just say what I was getting to is now that Brood War HD is coming out, or StarCraft HD, there is going to be an even bigger fight amongst. I mean, that's the thing that I've learned with the StarCraft community is everybody's fighting with everybody. Everybody's got an agenda, and
they do love a good witch hunt.
And now that this game is coming out, it is going to multiply, and it is going to split up the StarCraft community in general. Not even just StarCraft 2 and StarCraft HD, but StarCraft fans in general. It'll become this thing where it's going to be StarCraft 2 versus StarCraft, and ultimately it's going to hurt StarCraft 2 even more.
Everyone loses.
Everyone loses. I'm just hoping that the StarCraft community gets behind this. They realize the opportunity. So many pros are going to come back. So many casters like ourselves are going to come back. It's going to feel like for the first time since 2013 where everybody's excited, everybody's making content, streaming the game, the numbers are going to be great. Is going to be an opportunity to create an esport around that if they wanted to. I don't know how far Blizzard's involvement will be with this game, but I think if they're going to make an honest shot at this, they're probably going to do a fair amount with this version of StarCraft. They're not going to half-ass it like they did StarCraft 2, or just slap on a WCS and say, oh, we're now supporting, but not really, do anything with it and really improve on it. I feel like if they're ever going to do something, this is the failsafe. This is it. And I think if this game does well, we're going to see a trend. We're going to see a Warcraft 3 HD. These things here are going to be a way for Blizzard to not create a StarCraft 3 or talk about it, or create a Warcraft 4 and talk about it. Why not just get something that has been proven, a game that is loved and cherished, and just improve on the graphics and make an esport with it now that North America has such a hand in it.
I'm going to pass this to you, Tabin. So don't worry, I'm actually going to let you get in and talk here. But I just want to set something up so we don't talk too much about the same stuff here for a moment. So Jeff touched on something we actually kind of talked briefly about it, and I want to get you to elaborate on it, on your viewpoint is what. When it comes to the StarCraft community, it has been a community divided since basically the second year that StarCraft 2 existed, and now we're talking about bringing in Brood War Remastered, and it's even and Blizzard's pushing this as it wants it to be an esport again. They're redoing like the observer mode, and replays are going to be fine, and they're doing some minor quality of life stuff that will actually bring more than just Flash and Jaedong and Stork and Bizu back in to play the game again. Like there's going to be some of that. So they're going to divide the community even more with this, but they're kind of, in my opinion, they're kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't here. Yep. So what's your take on that situation?
They're shooting themselves in the foot, but not in a bad way. Like, I'm really hyped about StarCraft Remastered. Everything about it looks fantastic to me, but the main issue I see with it is you're coming out with a remastered version of the game, which has been arguably hyped as the better esport. So that's going to draw in a lot of the older community of StarCraft. It's going to draw in, and again, like you guys all elaborate on it, it's going to bring back a lot of the older content creators. Yeah. Now, the thing is, when you have all these people coming back, there's going to be a resurgence, but the problem is it's going to damage StarCraft 2. That's without a doubt. It's going to damage the StarCraft 2 community. So you're going to end up, again, as you split the community. But then you have to look forward. How are you going to get new viewers in? How are you going to get new people interested? And as awesome as StarCraft Remastered looks, it's playing to nostalgia that we all have. Like StarCraft Remastered looks like the game that we imagined in our heads when we were playing Brood War. So it's got that thing, but again, it's still got that super retro vibe, and it looks like an older game. The mechanics, as Adam mentioned earlier, are, from a generation past. There's a lot. It doesn't hold your hand. It's very punishing, and for new viewers, it's going to be harder to follow. They're not going to be as intrigued by it because graphics aren't as pretty, and unfortunately, for a lot of people, graphics matter. And then on top of it, for players trying to get into it, it's going to be punishing. Like RTS is already on shaky ground in terms of fan base at the moment, and in terms of games coming out. And Brood War and StarCraft, as awesome as it is very punishing if you're not technically excellent at the game. So getting new players in to actually play is going to be very difficult. They're gonna feel punished. They're gonna feel like, hard to define, but it's going to be a rough run. So they're kind of going backwards in a sense, but in doing that, they're going to bring in a lot of people.
I think, and this, the game's obviously going to cost money, so there's going to be people are going to have to pay to play it, and you're totally right. I agree with everything you just said. It is going to be a tougher game to play. It's going to be harder to follow. It's not going to be as aesthetically pleasing to the eye, but Blizzard has always had this, ever since StarCraft 2, this desire to create a spectators esport, and I think that this game can actually do it. I think that this version of the game, because of the nostalgia, because of all these, the old school, the retro feel of it, how tough of a game it was, and the fact that probably all the greatest players to ever live will play this game, whether it's they're going to make an appearance or legitimately try and win some money. There's going to be a lot of hype around this. Now, how long will the hype last? Will this be an Archon mode type thing where it's going to last a couple of months? I don't think so. I think this is going to be around for a while. But I feel like if they're ever going to be successful with a spectators esport, which is something they tried to shove down our throats, and the thing is they've dumbed down StarCraft 2 so much in comparison to Brood War, then I always made the question, well, why didn't you make it more casual friendly in terms of it just laddering and playing the game and playing custom maps and all this other stuff like we did in Brood War? And that's the thing. Adam and I never really got into laddering in Brood War. We always played BGH, fastest money map possibles. That was the fun in the game. The 7v1 comp stomps, the missile turrets, playing the Dragon Ball Z RPG games. Those sort of things, that's where you hook in the casuals. And it was all about, if you were into GSL and stuff, that's where you went in, as a spectacle. That's where you went and you watched it. And I think if they turn it into an actual spectacle, like a spectators esport, where you're listening to Artosis and Tasteless go into those gritty, those really intricate parts of the game, listening to Day 9, getting him back on his dailies and getting into the nitty gritty, that's something I'm going to tune into and watch personally. Obviously, I'd play now because it's part of my career, but I think they could do a really good job with this, as long as they don't fuck this up.
I don't know. Realistically, I think they're going to surge. They're going to probably get 10, 20 times the number of viewers they have for StarCraft now. But I'm going to say after 6 months to a year, they're probably going to hold maybe 2 to 3 times the current StarCraft 2 number. Most of it being cannibalized from StarCraft 2, I believe. I just feel like the game, as awesome as it is, the nostalgia factor is not. People are they're hyped on the nostalgia, but once we get into the nitty gritty of the game, they're gonna realize, okay, yeah, maybe this doesn't hold up as well. Even though the game, again, I'm not knocking StarCraft. I know it's gonna sound like it, but it mechanically,
well, you're
doesn't
speaking the
hold
truth,
up to this current generation gamer. Yeah, it doesn't hold up to this generation of gamer, and it's going to be more of a fad, I feel, even though it's going to boost the entire community.
Adam, do you think they should add mechanical things to the game in terms of hotkey wise, all those different things, grabbing more than 12 units at a time, those sort of things, kind of mishmashing some of the elements of StarCraft 2 into the game to bring it a little bit more up to date and make it a little bit more user friendly, or do you think it should be as punishing as it as it should be.
I think any changes that they make to it fundamentally like that are going to do nothing but harm to them. I think that this game is going to ride off nostalgia as hard as it can, and the moment you start making changes like that, first of all, if you change something as dramatic as unit groups, that changes the entire game. Just wildly changes at that point. So I'm actually happy with the minor quality of life changes that they've announced so far, like key bindings, for example, and allowing people to change those. And there were one or two, I can't think of them off the top of my head now, but I read the
Dragoon pathing.
I don't think they touched it. I think they left it.
Yeah, they did. I think they're planning on touching it.
And I'm okay with that. And the reason why I'm okay with that is because, with
I think Patty just said they're thinking about doing it. They're thinking about.
No, they're looking into doing it for the remaster.
They're gonna have to be real fucking careful with that though, because you're talking about a game that is, for all intents and purposes, considered by many people, if not the majority, to be the most balanced RTS game of all time. It is so balanced that almost 20 years into its lifespan, there are still new high-level strategies emerging that have not existed before, being pulled off in high competitive play. Not like some random people stuck in like the 20 people playing on ladder, but honest to goodness, championship level play. All of a sudden something new comes out. That is a great example of a game that is incredibly well balanced. And as unfortunate as it is, stuff like the Dragoons being drunk Mr. Magoo every time they try and get from point A to point B, that is a part of the balance of StarCraft Brood War. Same as to the stuff with like Reavers. Reavers were like Brett Hall trying to hit the broadside of a burn. They couldn't hit shit. It's just every once in a while, balls would just veer off into no man's land and hit absolutely nothing. And that was part of the balance, the weird, quirky balance that existed. You start toying with that stuff, and then all of a sudden, it's kind of like I said in the last cast, it's the foot in the door. Okay, we're going to change Dragoons. Okay, but that actually changes the dynamic of the Protoss balance, because now Protoss can actually get around with Dragoons immaculately. What does that mean? Well, now we have to maybe change some other stuff. Foot in the door further. Now I got my leg in the door. Now all of a sudden I just walk into the house and I fuck everything up, because why not? I'm already in here. I might as well just mess everything up. So I'd rather them just stick with the quality of life stuff to a minimum, the stuff that makes sense, that will make usability for the newer people of today to use the interface to actually get into play the game, and just kind of leave it at that. They've already put this down in its current iteration in front of the gods, Flash, Bizu, Stork, and Jaedong. They've already had it in front of them. They haven't played competitively, but they let them go in and do whatever they wanted to see how everything felt, and all of them were thumbs up. I think if you're all thumbs up from those guys, don't fucking touch it. Leave it alone. It's good. If you've got it so well emulated that they can still plug in replays from 1999 into this new system and it runs perfectly, don't touch the system. You've done it, boys. You've pulled off the fucking miracle play. Santa Claus came early and he came thrice. And now you're going to go and try and mess with stuff. It's a bad idea.
Does that mean our UMS maps may work? That would be like the coup de grace if those worked. Those old games.
Apparently, I want to say that I've read that the maps might even still be convertible to a degree that exists.
That would be amazing.
So there. I mean, it's a really good model of what Brood War was, and I wouldn't personally mess with it, but. So that answers that. I know that's an unfortunate thing, because for new people, you want to be able to grow it, right? But I think here's my take on this, is that the RTS genre is already for people who are RTS players. Rarely do you have somebody come up out of the friggin' 14-year-olds and go, man, I want to play an RTS. It almost never happens. You're talking about people that graduate to an RTS because they're playing games that are mechanically less intensive for a long time, and then eventually, not everybody, but some people get tired of that and they want to have more, and it just so happens that from a competitive RTS standpoint, Blizzard provides the only real option right now on the field. There are others that exist, but at a highest level, that's where Blizzard kind of reigns, right? So they funnel into something like that.
Well, I
don't think, yeah.
I wish I could shit on Blizzard here. I'm trying to find a reason to tell them, fuck off.
They haven't given us a reason yet.
They haven't given it. They've given us everything.
I feel like they will soon.
That we ever wanted, and that's the show. The only thing, once again, that threw me for a curveball is I thought it was coming in the StarCraft 2 engine. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of happy it isn't now that I'm really thinking about it. If they're going to go in the direction, they may as well just go the whole way and re-release Brood War with 4K HD,
dude,
and call it a show. And just call it a show.
It looks great. And I know somebody mentioned this
apparently
before.
Apparently they redid all the cutscenes and stuff too.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
All the cinematics campaign fully redone.
Yeah,
which is
so
awesome.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. Because Blizzard does some of the best CGI in the business. So that's going to be really fun to watch. But somebody mentioned this earlier on the same note where it was in reference to, I think it was Panic that said it, where you mentioned, it won't be as easy to follow. I actually disagree with you there. Brood War does not have as much flashy bullshit going on screen as StarCraft 2 does. Watching a Brood War game, unless you've got science vessels and scourges shitting all over the screen, everything is pretty easy to keep tabs on. And not only that, but you have to remember that a lot of the stuff that exists in StarCraft 2 are simply extensions and sometimes broken down versions of what existed in Brood War. So for people that are already familiar with the StarCraft 2 universe, they're going to see something like a Scourge and go, oh yeah, that got split up into like a Devourer or whatever, and what was the there's two units that I'm thinking of. Viper. It's basically like those two units. Like there's things that just got extrapolated or split up, like a queen in Brood War.
Well, you say that now, Adam, but that's because you understand Brood War and you understand StarCraft 2.
And Brood War.
I'm not saying for new people. I'm saying for
StarCraft
people who. Yeah, but I'm saying for people who are into the StarCraft 2 scene. I'm not talking about new people coming in. I'm talking about people who know StarCraft 2. I'm going to get, these people aren't stupid. They're going to see what's happening on screen, and it might be a curve. Yes, obviously they have to learn some shit, but it's not going to be like some sort of Mount Everest that they have to climb.
It's StarCraft, but I think maybe what Panic is trying to get at is, or at least what I'm saying, is I agree with him. I think it's going to be a tougher sell. I think it's going to be a harder game to understand. I see where you're coming from in terms of there is a lot more going on in StarCraft 2. There's a lot more hotkeys. You can physically see the different hotkeys. You can see people, all the groups of units being highlighted all together. There's so much more going on. Typically in a ladder game in Brood War, there's like a third of the amount of units. Like when you're fighting in a fight, you're not just warping in 50 fucking zealots and you go to town. You've got 4 or 5 zealots and you're a micro god, right? You're seeing how the battles are much smaller, much more focused, which is great. But I think with that, there's a lot more behind what you're seeing on screen that people are going to go, what just happened there? How are you moving these units in this way? Why do these battles look so much different than StarCraft 2? Because StarCraft 2 is dumbed down, but you're right, there is so infinitely more shit going on the screen, but Blizzard did do a good way at showing you what it is you are seeing on screen. So it is there's a lot there, but it's simple to understand. With Brood War, it's not as much, but it's much more complicated to really understand what's going on and and also to play. I mean, when I go and play the new HD, I'm gonna fucking suck. Like I'm gonna be like, I'm sure I'll be better than what I was back in the day because mechanically, but my God, the game's so much harder. Like, just even having 5 or 6 different groups of units in all different hotkeys and trying to get them all to fight at the same time and microing them at the same time and going back and macroing and not having as much resources. And it's just going to be a shit show, but an amazing shit show. And I can't wait to be. I'm going to enjoy casting it, I think, much more than to play it. But I can't wait to sit down and really get into the strategy of Brood War. The other thing that I would like to see is the bronze through grandmasters. So implementing that sort of ladder system on the new StarCraft. I know that they're updating the BattleNet, and that's great. I love that they're not using the shit BattleNet that we have now. Thank you, God. Thank you. Did I say thank you? One more time. Thank you for not doing that. But I hope that they update it in a way that it isn't just a clone of what it used to be. I know back in the day they had like this ladder system where you had a number, and the number would go like up and down according to what your wins and losses, and then you'd have like a win, loss, draw column, and then you'd keep creating new accounts if you got a loss, or you'd pull the disconnect thing out of the back of the computer. And then people would see like, oh, this guy's got 13 disconnects. He obviously just DCs when he's about to lose. So hopefully they update those sort of things and modernize it at least in that way, in a competition way for the ladder and the casuals to get into it and feel like there's a progression. But beyond that, man, I'm loving what I'm hearing. I'm loving it, and mark my words, this will be a trend. Warcraft 3 will be on the way.
Ooh.
They did hire a bunch of people for bringing back older games.
It will be on the trend. Mark my word. Frozen Throne, ladies and gentlemen, will come back, and I will tell you definitively, it will be bigger than Brood War. It will be bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
well, that
Frozen
I can.
Throne will be huge.
Oh, God. Dude. No,
But
of
that'll
course
be
it
for
will
another.
be.
We'll talk about that another time
Of course
because
it will be, yeah.
we could talk about that
of
forever,
course.
but that is going to
Oh my
be
God,
massive.
That's going to be
Massive.
huge. I mean, people have been wanting Warcraft 4 forever, so just to get a taste of 3 will be crazy. But I agree, harder game to understand the background of and everything else. Now, the upshot for everybody watching these games and learning about the game at home is that there is already a community of older guys that have been around since the beginning that can explain that game beautifully to anyone. And what I really want to see happen on the launch day of this bad boy coming out, if they make it, or maybe even just the first weekend after that it's around, I want to see a friendly tournament where they bring back those Brood War gods, and then they've got Tasteless and Artosis casting the shit as a major promotional event.
Already
I think
doing
that is that a thing? I didn't read
they're- I
about it
think they're
because I've
already
been
setting it
looking
up.
for it. Because I've been looking for that
Adam, you know what's
information.
going to
I
happen.
haven't seen
You
it.
know what's going to happen. It's. I mean, who else is going to helm the thing? I
Well,
mean,
I want it
Tasteless
to
are
fucking happen.
salivating right now. They're salivating. They're just like, oh my God,
more dirty
right?
esports money.
Oh, it's going to be real dirty. And you know Blizzard's just going to be throwing money at the wall.
Absolutely.
And-
I want to see it. Do you
Yes.
know how much I would just die watching Flash versus Jaedong in a 4K version
it's
of
gonna
Brood
happen,
War?
dude. It's gonna
Do you know
happen.
how fucking epic that is?
And this is the
again,
nostalgia
Tasteless-
factor. Yeah.
Tasteless, but it's
gonna
not
ask
just
you
the
guys a
nostalgia
question.
factor. I think that the thing that's got me most jacked about Brood War is that, and I hope this transfers for other people, is that for the gamers out there that might play the game and get frustrated with how difficult it is, if they take that and then they watch a tournament and they see how fucking good these guys are at playing the game and what high-level Brood War looks like, that's what got me into esports. It wasn't first-person shooters where somebody was neato at doing 360 no-scope headshots, whatever. It was the fact that I was watching a dude at 300, 400 actions per minute doing some of the craziest stuff that I couldn't even in a million years. Like, I watched StarCraft 2. I could never be, these guys playing professional StarCraft 2, but Brood War players are in a different freaking universe. They're in like some 11th dimension where their brains work on a different fucking wavelength, and it's nuts to watch. And until you see these guys, you don't even have to understand the game all that well, because the casters will take you along for the fucking ride, because the Brood War casters are some of the best in the business.
Also, the games are just so much more intense and epic. It's
Oh my
not
God.
it's not as robotic. It does to a point, but the games
It's not
are
as rock,
just
paper, scissory.
Yeah, it's not as rock
No,
paper
there's
scissors.
no. It's no.
It's just such a better fucking game.
It's so fucking
just so
good.
much better.
So much can happen in a single Brood War game.
And I'm gonna be honest,
in
dude.
StarCraft.
Go ahead. I'll go. I'm gonna start
In
preaching.
StarCraft 2, how many times in StarCraft did we say that in StarCraft 2, in the first 5 minutes, you know how the rest of the fucking game plays out almost to the freaking T? Because as soon as one thing happens in the first 5 minutes, it pretty much sets off a cascade of dominoes that tells you exactly what's going to happen. In Brood War, the odds of you being able to figure out what the hell's going to happen, short of somebody pulling off a cheese build in the early game, you have no clue what the hell is going to happen. Shit goes all over the place.
Before Jeff jumps in, can I get a little bit technical on the whole game design lingo on this? I really want to say
go
it,
for
but-
it. Okay, go for it.
So StarCraft 2 in strategy is very kind of deterministic based on the other player. So if your player takes an action, you kind of are locked in counter action you have to take. It's why I say rock, paper, scissors. It's the best way to describe it. In Brood War, you can come up with a couple of different strategies to counter and it will generally work. In StarCraft, you can't really do that unless your skill level is like an order of magnitude higher than the other player, which is very rare. So like, again, it comes down to the nuance in Brood War strategy where you can kind of take a couple of different routes, and that's what makes the game so much more interesting because you're not locked into a single type of counter that you have to execute perfectly or you're going to lose.
Yeah, and another great thing about it is for one, I'm going to be honest, I am going to love watching the StarCraft 2 community, the streamers, the casters, everybody fucking scram. I'm going to be just to get a fire under everybody's ass because the shit has gotten, and we've been part of the problem. It's gotten so repetitive, so lazy, everything. And this is going to just, it's going to be all those StarCraft 2 streamers and stuff that are streaming the game and doing a great job at streaming the game. They're going to have to make a choice. Am I going to jump on board with this thing and actually work together as a community and create great content? Or am I going to stay over here in the StarCraft 2 bubble, which is going to get even smaller after this comes out, and most certainly for the foreseeable future? Even if this game is only popular for 6 months to a year, this is going to force a lot of StarCraft 2 content providers to do something, or they're not going to eat for 6 months to a year, and chances are they're going to get really they're not going to be motivated, they're going to get discouraged, and shit's just going to go sideways for them. So this is, and I'm not saying I want to see people fucking fail or anything like that, but this creates
It's going to happen.
It's going to create competition. Everybody's going to start innovating their content. They're going to be, it's just, we're going to go back to a dog eat dog world where people are being pushed to the limit. And I think that's great. I think that's when the best content comes out. I think that's when good collaborations come out. And I also think that when this game comes out, there's going to be there's going to be a new meta. There's going to be new strategies. A lot of these StarCraft 2 players of this generation have never played Brood War. A lot of them, believe it or not. I mean, we're some of the old school guys, but we've got a lot of young 21, 22-year-old guys and gals that are playing StarCraft 2,
never played when it came out.
Never played Brood War, right? So they're going to get into it. They're probably going to bitch and complain a lot, saying, "Oh, we should have this, we should have that. I really like what this did in StarCraft 2 and this, and I don't know how you guys like this game. This is stupid." But I think they're going to have to get over that real quick and just realize that this is going to be the future for StarCraft, and start making some great content. And I can't wait for us to push the envelope and do some new shit and be part of this movement. I can't wait to do a When Cheese Fails Brood War. I can't wait to get on and do a ladder series. I can't wait to show off some old BGH. I can't wait to get into a 7v1 comp stomp and backstab my opponents and get everybody killing each other. I can't wait to do all these things and show the world
Goliath
how I fell in
online.
love with the game and bring back that passion that I had before I made money, before the fame, before all this stuff, and give you guys what is truly, in my opinion, the greatest game ever. and I'm just pumped. I know I sound like a nostalgic fanboy right now, and I am, but it's the truth. If you're an RTS lover, you're gonna love this game. You're gonna love it. Let's go. Woo! Let's go.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's gonna be hype. I mean, how crazy is it that of all the things that we now need or want to lean on for the future of StarCraft is StarCraft Brood War. Like how silly is that? How
it's fitting though. I love it.
It is kind of fitting. Everything old is new again type shit. But
Adam, question for you.
Yeah, what?
If they bring out a ladder for Brood War, are you gonna go for a quest for Grandmaster?
No.
Are you even gonna go for a quest for Bronze?
No. I will be.
Adam
I will
don't
be doing
play,
just.
man.
I don't play because I
You're gonna be on the 3v5 comp stomps.
He'll be having some fun, like custom
I'll
map
have some
shit,
fun
and he'll
and
cast.
custom map stuff and do that. I'll go back for the nostalgia for that. But for me, for competitive games of any kind, it literally doesn't matter what it is, StarCraft or otherwise. I am way too hard on myself, and I will die an early death if I get into a competitive game like that. I prefer watching it, understanding it as to the best of my abilities from a distance, learning from people who will be forever far greater than myself. I'm getting excited to watch Day 9 bring back Day 9 dailies. I can't
Hopefully
wait to
he does.
see him because he's I think he's already said he's going to do it, and
planning
I
it
would
up.
be mind blown if he didn't. But I'm pretty sure he is, and I'm excited to watch that because the people that are big in the StarCraft 2 scene are that have been gone for a while. Many of them were Brood War guys, and this is going to be a fun thing to see. But one thing I want to touch on though before we wrap up the whole StarCraft bit is so far Blizzard has given us almost exactly what we've wanted. And in fact, in some cases, they've managed to, pull the whole, the customer doesn't even know what they want and somehow still got that right on top of that, which is super rare to do as well, especially for Blizzard. So not to end it on a negative note or anything like that, but where can Blizzard mess this up? Where are their fail points now moving forward? I know I have ideas about this myself, and maybe one of you guys will touch on it, but where do you guys think the fail points are for StarCraft Remastered and the StarCraft community, spearheaded by Blizzard right now at this point, moving forward? What do you think, Tabin?
Blizzard historically has not been very good at managing their communities. They've had a hands-off approach. Even with their recent hands-on approach, they don't do a very great job on engaging with content creators or engaging with the community. So I feel like that's going to be probably their Achilles heel starting off. And overall, I think StarCraft as a whole is gonna maintain itself. It's already reached that critical mass where it's gonna always have that core fan base, even if it grows or not. But I feel like it's Blizzard's game to lose at this point. They can do a lot with the esports scene to kind of grow it and push it, but again, historically, especially with StarCraft, they haven't really done a good job. They kind of let the Brood War scene die off a lot. They let a lot of the StarCraft 2 scene more or less kind of fizzle away. So even if they come at it with a new tact or a new push, I don't feel like they have the track record to kind of pull it off.
What about you, Mr. Black? What are you thinking for where they can screw this up?
2 ways. We've already talked on it. First is if they change mechanically the game. If they start fucking with units, balancing, all that stuff. It's a proven track record. The game works. Just let it go. Let it go. Don't balance it for the new pros that are out there. Leave it. Just leave it. And that's the show. If they start messing around with it, like you said, it could get really ugly because that's when the community is going to backlash big time. Because right now we're all for it. Everybody, well, the old school guys are all for this.
Old now?
Yeah, and if they screw with it, it's done. They're gonna have that negativity cloud over them, like StarCraft 2 dead meme cloud. That's always gonna be there. Well, if they didn't fuck with this unit, we wouldn't have this problem. Or if they didn't fuck with this mechanic, we wouldn't have this problem. When you got rid of this, now we have that, and that, blah blah blah. So there's that. Also, the other thing, and I'm right with Tabin, is community. They suck ass. Like, they are probably the worst.
This is so bad. Yeah,
It's legit the worst.
It's up there. I think Riot's ahead of them for different reasons, but they're pretty bad. Yeah. They're pretty
Riot is infinitely ahead of them on a number of reasons. Now, Blizzard is a massive company with an endless amount of cash. I understand they've got shareholders. I understand there are budgets in place. They're a business. They need to make money. But I think a lot of it, with the Hearthstone money that they made, the World of Warcraft money that they're making, all this easy money, they are, well, I'm not saying it was easy to get there, but you understand what I'm saying, how frequently it's coming in and how
where they are now.
Yeah. Opposed to where they were. And it's like back in the day before we got Hearthstone, before we got 15 expansions on WoW, before we got Overwatch, we had Starcraft. And Blizzard did a way better job at dealing with community, making tournaments, promoting their. Now, it still wasn't fantastic, but it was much more focused. And now that there's so many different properties, they need to spend some money, market. They need to start paying, content providers, sending them out to events, helping them. And I'm not talking like when I had these conversations with Blizzard. And when they sent me out to Las Vegas, and that's a whole nother story, and we'll definitely talk about that on a podcast for sure, and what they've done to LAGTV or what they haven't done for us ever. We'll get into that. But they really need to get focused and get their head out their own asses and either fire some people or hire some people. They need to get in tune with the community and listen. I'm not talking give a tournament, 10 free copies of StarCraft Brood War to give away on their stream. Real support here. Real support. Don't be charging people for tournaments. Don't be, not helping the community in any way, using the BattleNet to promote streams and different things like that. If they can go in and do that, we're not asking them to give us everything and to throw millions of dollars and say, take this money with no real direction. Obviously, there's got to be purpose behind what they're doing, but they have to find things to do.
Have our back.
Exactly. Have our backs, especially when the community needs it, when everybody's feeling down and everyone's fighting. Give us some encouragement. Tell us that you're here. Show us that you care. I mean, they're showing it to an extent by giving this great game to us. But go all the way now. Go all the way. Make this last for another 15 years. That's it. That's the only way I can see them screwing this up. And I truly feel like it, that they're going to do us good this time around. I feel it.
Yeah, I agree on one of the points that, you hope, for sure. You would definitely want to hope. You touched on my biggest point there in the midst of all of your stuff where, there's community and then there's the esports side of it, and we have to be fair here and say that there's no universe in which Brood War suddenly becomes, oh my goodness, hold on. Hey Apple, are you listening? You're probably not listening. I don't need you to pop up and ask me for updating iTunes every 5 seconds. I just don't need it. I don't need it in my life. I'm going to live without that update. Believe me, it's going to be okay. But yeah, but with the community thing and the esports side of things, it was the craziest thing. And again, we'll also talk about this possibly next week, depending on how things roll out.
Well, we do have a guest on next week, so it'll probably be a good time.
Yeah,
to talk
exactly. So but the in the roller coaster ride that was StarCraft 2's esports success and failure, the most pivotal point of it all was when Blizzard decided that it was really necessary to charge a licensing fee to run a tournament for StarCraft 2, and then to make the licensing fee what it was, which was like $10,000 or something like that. It was some silly, to Blizzard, like wipe their ass with it type money. Like there wouldn't be a dent put on their bottom line. Nothing would ever come out of that financially. It was literally just it almost seemed like it was directed at slowing or killing off the grassroots tournaments that existed for StarCraft 2 for the opening year and a half or whatever of the game, 2 years. And then it just blew up from there. And we'll talk about that more when we get into it. But my point is that is where I'm afraid for this one. I'm afraid that maybe they do let it run wild for a bit. And then somebody at Blizzard goes, you know what, man? This is all great, but I think I can do this better. And I think I want to be the only one that does this. And then they go ahead and pull another StarCraft 2, where StarCraft, where Blizzard comes in with a massive hammer that requires a surgical instrument and just starts swinging that son of a bitch. And then all of a sudden, the community is reduced to, what we're now seeing with StarCraft 2 versus having people just take the game and running with it and enjoying themselves. Because, hey, this game's got LAN capabilities. Who in the shit thought that Blizzard and LAN could be in the same sentence in the year 2017? But here we fucking are.
Here
so
it is.
It's built
They're
for
listening.
it.
They're listening.
Let it go. Be there to prop it up where it needs to be propped up. And keep things within reason, but don't try and play the fucking puppet master that you did with StarCraft 2, because whether or not they want to believe it, and it's not this one thing that killed the whole thing or brought it down to where it is now, it was a good chunk of the catalyst for what came to pass. So that's my biggest failing point, or where they could possibly lose a lot of people that way. Panic, you look like you are desperate to say something, so I'm gonna give you the floor for the wrap up on this before we go to break. So what do you got?
Oh, I get the wrap up. I was just gonna say
you get the wrap up.
That Blizzard has a tendency to be they're either super hands off, and then they're like, oh shit, we have to overcompensate, and then they like drop like the hammer of Thor on everything, and then it kind of just causes chaos everywhere. Again, kind of like you were saying. I don't know if I'm worthy of, wrapping it up for the next topic, though. So I'm going to actually pass that one back to you with your smooth and sultry voice.
No, that's fine. I'll let you get off the hook. We'll actually go. We've only got a couple minutes before the break anyway, so we'll just take a slightly earlier break than normal because there's nothing we could really talk about in that time. But what I will say leading up to this is, once again, guys, if you're listening to this and you wanted to watch us live, it is twitch.tv/technicalalpha. If you want to watch the VODs, you can also check us out at youtube.com/Life'sAGlitchTV, where you're going to be able to see the full VOD as well as clips and even too long didn't watch versions for those that don't have the time to watch or listen to the whole thing. Also check us out on iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, Patreon, everywhere you could possibly get your hands on it. And if you're wondering what the biggest thing you can do to help us grow right now, it's reviews everywhere. That's the metric that's going to push us up, and that's all we're asking from you guys until we sell out really aggressively here for roughly the next 2 minutes. So sit tight. We will be back after a small break. Thank you so much for listening, and we will return. Siticity. Hey guys, if you're enjoying Technical Alpha and are interested in supporting us, do I have a solution for you? We've set up this Patreon page to help us help you, help us and you. We've got a list of options that would make a used car salesman cry that provide you with a range of goodies for your support. Head on over to patreon.com/technicalalpha to see what's up for grabs. Like fancy badges and stuff? Subscribe to us on Twitch to get access to, well, badges and stuff. Not big on subscriptions? We have a button below that allows you to directly throw money at our faces. Careful you don't take those eyes out though. We are so very fond of our eyes. Honestly though, while we like to joke about the sellout, just being a regular listener is a huge help, and we're incredibly thankful for all of your support. Technical Alpha will continue soon, so sit tight. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from that extremely long break. I know, you missed us, but we have returned, and I've returned with something I've never had before. I figured I'd try it out here on the podcast. I figured I'd just give it a rip, see what it tastes like. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a big rye and ginger guy. I like my rye and ginger. It's one of the greatest, especially in the summertime. It's one of the most refreshing drinks you can have that will also put you on your ass if you're not careful. And I like ginger ale just in general, or ginger anything. If you put ginger on dog shit, I might actually consider eating it. And so I'm in the grocery store today, and I come across this. I've never seen it before. I thought I'd seen anything that and everything that Halifax has to offer in this regard, but it's called Reed's Extra Ginger Brew. They had two different versions of this thing. One has 5% of it is ginger root, and this is 7%, so we've gone all the way, that extra 2%. And, which I guess if you think about it, percentage-wise, that's actually a pretty big jump. We're going to open this bad boy here and just...
How much do Jeff and I get from that promo?
Not a damn cent. Not Seriously. A red cent.
He's doing a better job at promoting this beer than he does our own podcast.
This isn't beer. This is just ginger ale, basically, or like a ginger beer kind of thing, which isn't actually beer. No. It's just they put it in a green thing because Jamaica. All right, we're getting the sniff. There's some ginger in that, boy. Let me tell you, that'll clean the sinuses real quick. All right, we're going in. Let's see what it tastes like. Ooh, that's not bad. I'm not gonna lie. I've had drinks with way more ginger in it than that. So I'm gonna give that a 3 out of 7. It's not bad.
It's not very good.
It's not the best. Not the best.
All that literal minute of podcast time for a 3 out of 7
when
drink.
Something says.
I'm sorry, you'll never get that back, viewers.
Jamaican style, because Jamaicans are what the ginger beers are all about, right? That's where and then you get me this shit. It's kind of just okay. It's not bad. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, hit us up on that iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, Patreon, the back of your refrigerator, pretty much anywhere you can imagine. That is where we are, and that is where you can find us and listen to us ramble about complete and utter nonsense. Also, we are live every single Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/Technical Alpha. So come and watch us and hang out and be part of the experience that is three dudes talking about stuff.
Yeah, just make sure to follow us on Twitch so you know when we go live. Twitch actually sends out the notifications. But what do we got? Adam?
What do we got? What do you mean? What do we got? You picked the thing to come up after this break. We're talking about Nintendo. We're talking about, more specifically, Nintendo at this E3. Which why that's a special thing is, as most of us or anybody who keeps up with E3, over the last few years would know, Nintendo hasn't really technically been part of E3. Nintendo has just, crashed a hotel next to E3 and then set up all their cameras in there and did like their own little thing, and then they'd kind of be on the E3 show floor, but they never did like an honest to goodness E3 press conference in quite a long time now. At least long enough that people are intrigued with the fact that they are choosing to do so at this E3 with the advent of the Switch and the fact that this E3 is also the first one that's open to the public. So this is quite an interesting E3 in general, but we wanted to talk about the fact that Nintendo is doing that, and then what we think Nintendo needs to do to be successful at this E3, or what we would like to see them do so that maybe they impress us. Because honestly, if they impress us, obviously that means they're successful. Not really, but what would we like to see them do? So I'll hand this off to Mr. Black, because I think Mr. Black is the one that's the closest of he and I to buying one if something comes up that he wants to actually pick the console up for. So what does Nintendo have to do at this E3 where you go, oh, damn, the Switch is worth buying after all. Let's go.
I'll be honest, man. I just don't care about Nintendo. Like, I just don't give a fuck. Like, I mean,
Wow.
I don't care if Nintendo like comes out with a Switch that blows me. I don't give a shit. Like, I am so over Nintendo, it hurts my soul. But I mean, if I'm going to ever give Nintendo my money for the Switch, they're gonna have to just announce a Switch that doesn't suck. That's the show.
Wow.
I need games. They need
Savage.
They
But
need
what
to.
are there games? Are there games though that they haven't announced or something that would intrigue you? Like, are there Nintendo titles that haven't been announced that you can think of that you would say, okay, Nintendo's bringing this back, or Nintendo's doing this with the Switch, and now I kind of want that because it has that game. What is the app that exists? There's not one game that Nintendo could make that you would go, that's pretty fucking awesome. I need the Switch. Not one.
No, I'm honest. I'm not saying that to be a smartass. They haven't done anything that interests me. To the people that love Nintendo, by all means, I'm not hating on you. Like, video games and movies and music is very subjective, and I don't think Nintendo has done a good job at creating games in general. There has been some gems. I'm not saying everything is garbage. There has been some gems. But honestly, in the last 6 years, I have played Mario Galaxy. I have replayed old retro Nintendo or Super Nintendo or N64 games. I am not running out to play Zelda. It doesn't interest me. Let's be real. A successful Nintendo E3 will be them announcing another Zelda or announcing Super Smash Bros. Fucking whatever. And, yay, everyone's going to go crazy for this same regurgitated stuff that we've gotten over the last few years. If they come out with a Switch that doesn't suck in a console form, that is better built, that isn't having all these issues, then yeah, maybe I will get it. Obviously, I collect video games. I will get one to have one. I will play it when I go on an airplane. I will take it to a convention with me. But that is the only time it's going to see the light of day. And I'm only throwing money at it because I can. It's not like if this wasn't my occupation, I would never buy a Switch under any circumstance. I just wouldn't own one. I would own a PS4 or I'll buy the Xbox Scorpion or Scorpio or Scorpa, whatever it is. The Nintendo just doesn't do it for me. So I think this is going to be something that you guys are going to debate a little bit more, but I'm just keeping it real. And I'll have a lot of haters out there that are like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. And maybe I don't, because I'm just not interested in Nintendo. They just don't do it for me.
But Jeff, what if they did a StarCraft 64 remaster?
No. No.
And then with the Joy-Cons, you can feel the ice cubes in Jim Raynor's whiskey glass. You can feel that there's two. How fucking good.
He's not amused.
It's so awesome, dude. They're gonna come out with a bunch of garbage, a bunch of add-ons, more shit you're gonna have in your room that you're gonna look for, more things to charge, more money to spend. That's what it's gonna be, guys. They're gonna talk a little bit more about Mario Odyssey. They're gonna probably drop one like title that people are like, ooh, wow, this is coming back. That's kind of intriguing. And it will be no gameplay. It'll be like some sort of CGI video crap that everybody will tweet about. Oh my god, it's the fucking greatest thing ever. And we'll wait 2 years to get it. And when we get it, it'll be half-ass. Okay. That's where I'm at. I'm such a jaded fucking Nintendo hater.
And to be fair, dude, though, like, Gabs is the biggest Nintendo fan on the planet that I know of, and Zelda especially, and so, she reminds me all the time how much of a jaded asshole I am because I rip into Nintendo
robot
all the time. It's because I'm with you on a lot of the stuff. Nintendo leans on the same three or four intellectual properties over and over and over again. And yeah, it's cool that they can make good games using those intellectual properties, but could we maybe just make something fucking new, or provide better third-party support so that people actually want to make games for your consoles and not just fucking vaporware every single time? Like, would that be so friggin' hard? Because if you're gonna make a console that's so gimmicky that developers can't just with relative ease and with respect to cost port games to your console, then what are you doing? Then you are stuck with your first party titles. And yeah, it's I guess the ultimate problem here, and what makes this so infinitely frustrating, and what makes Reggie Fils-Aimé such a punchable human being, is that no matter what they do, they fucking sell 500 million fucking consoles every fucking time. It doesn't seem to matter. They could literally put out anything and people will buy it and suck it up. It's worse than any other fucking singular title that people call Call of Duty fanboys bad. Nintendo people will buy that shit no matter what, over and over again. Nobody says, Nintendo, give me new shit. You know what they're fucking calling for right now? If you scroll up in chat, I bet you at least 4 or 5 people have said, give me Metroid. We haven't already gotten Metroid fucking 16 times already, but give me the Metroid I want, so I can buy it for the 8th fucking time, and then don't come up with anything new ever. Just the same fucking 4 properties that you can cram down our throats. For God's sake, they didn't even launch with a Mario game on this console. There's no Mario. And when Mario comes, it's Mario looking like a deformed fucking child running around modern New York. What the fuck is that? And then to push it further, the Mario Kart that we get is the rehashed bullshit with some DLC. Really? That's what you get? And then you force Zelda onto the console. You force Zelda onto the console at the fucking detriment of the Wii U version, where the Wii U is already a fucking hamstring, poor beat up old yeller, take it out back and fucking hit it with a shovel type shit. And then you don't even give it the proper Zelda by taking out all the fucking gamepad support because you had to put it on to your glorified fucking cell phone that I can't call my grandmother with and wish her a happy fucking birthday. Come on!
How much alcohol was in that ginger beer?
Nintendo's
how much alcohol was in that ginger beer?
Not enough. Yeah, Nintendo.
I'm gonna take the calm approach.
Nintendo for me to do anything at this E3 is going to have to show me a new IP. And not just any new IP, you got to do something that's actually kind of impressive to look at.
Well, you mean you don't want Milk the Cow Simulator 2018?
No, I mean, as much as I love grabbing those teats,
for that one.
I think I'm gonna pass on that, and because it's $64.99 for that bundle of friggin' party games. I think I'm gonna pass on that one strong.
That doesn't even seem like a party I want to go to, dude. If I get a fucking phone call from one of my friends and it's like, bro, you want to come over? I got this party shit from the Switch. I'm gonna say, fuck you fucking weirdo. Dude, don't call me again. Like, I hate you. Why would you even ask me that? Like, who does that?
You want to come out?
You know what,
Jeffrey,
dude? I'm going to go to fucking Best Buy. Bro, no, shut up. I'm going to go to fucking Best Buy, bro. And I'm going to get that Fire Party Mix from Nintendo Switch. And I'm going to have a party night. I'm going to go get the fucking, the cider shit that Adam's drinking. I'm going to get a fucking 24 pack of it. And I'm going to invite my boys over. And we're going to fucking switch it up. We're going to milk cows. We're going to jerk off a donkey. We're going to fight kangaroo. We're going to fucking have a great time. No. Stop! We don't want to do any of that shit. Like, give us the shit, dude. You know, listen, I could go over there right now and I can name fire from over there. Fucking Mario 3, Super Mario World, fucking Super Metroid, 007, Conker's Bad Fur Day, fucking Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey Kong. The list goes on and on. I could sit here for 2 hours and name fire. You know what I can name for the last fucking 10 years for Nintendo? Mario, Zelda, some Metroid, That's the show. And Milk and Fuck a Donkey Simulator 2018, where you have to buy 15 different pieces to get the job done. Literally, they'll sell you a plastic bucket that you put on the ground, and you get 2 fucking controllers that you pretend are the cow teats, and you fucking milk them on screen, and the commercials are so happy. They're like, I'm having so much fun milking this. I'm having so much fun. It's fucking dumb, dude. Fuck that shit. They can't do anything to win me over. It's official. Stay out of E3. You're cancering it. Piss off.
It's fucking. They need to bring a new IP to the table. They honestly do. And this is for me. Let's be honest. Once again, the whole reason why I went on that rant to begin with is because I'm pissed off that Nintendo can literally do anything they want, and it doesn't seem to fucking matter. You know, so we can sit here and theory craft and whine and bitch and scream into our microphones for the next 2 hours, and it won't matter because Nintendo is going to keep making the same stuff. They're going to sell 30 million consoles minimum, and if they manage to hit the right games, they're going to sell 60 million consoles, and they're going to go about their business because they're going to look at their bottom line and go, you know what, guys? We did well. Good job. Shake hands and go home.
We did.
Because
we did good, son. We did good.
We did. We knocked it out of the park. We made a fortune. And so, it's hard to hate on them, but at the same time, that's what's so aggravating is that you know that Nintendo has the capacity, like Jeff just said, to put out incredible titles that aren't always the same thing. He just listed a bunch of stuff that's sequels and stuff, but these are things that are from the 90s, most of them. We don't need 2017, and Pikmin was the last thing I can think of, other than Splatoon, that was an attempt at a new title, and Splatoon's a solid game, and Pikmin's an incredible franchise, but now Pikmin's even getting old. So now it's really just Splatoon and that new boxing game.
Ancient.
Yeah, so
the boxing game.
It is what it is. So like I appreciate that Mario games are always going to be at the very least very good, and pretty much anything first party that Nintendo makes is going to be very good. But that doesn't lessen my aggravation that I want to see them do more than just give me gimmicks on the console. I want to see them innovate in some games, and not even in some crazy way. Just come up with some new IPs, which it sounds like a really easy thing for somebody sitting at home in their basement to say. But there are people at Nintendo getting paid a lot of money that are way smarter than I'll ever be, that have the capacity and the creativity to come up with some really good shit that instead they're just funneling directly into 101 different ways of feeding us yarn-related games.
Yep. Panic? What do you say?
Panic, what do you say?
I don't have any sort of ranty, ragey moments because I feel like you guys kind of have that one on lock. I'm gonna be the reasonable one here, the reasonable, calm one.
That's probably a good idea.
I just want, I want games. That's all I want. I just want good games, and I want them to not come out in like 2 years. Like we talked about it before, the Switch's launch titles were trash. We had only Zelda plus a bunch of shovelware, and if they're gonna have a successful E3, I want. Ideally, new IP. That would be amazing, but we're probably not going to see it realistically. Not going to happen from Nintendo. This is
definitely not on the Switch either. We're not going to get it right now.
Yeah, they're not going to do it for a while. But they have like Mario coming out towards the end of the year. Like I want games, but I don't want them at the end of the year. Like we've got 9 months to go before December. It's kind of ridiculous to be like, oh yeah, no, these games are all coming out. It's like you guys had a long time to put this console together. Yeah, you kind of blitzed it on us, but where are the games? I want games, not just like tech demos or whatever. I want to see what you have coming up. If you got a new Metroid, great. Show it to us how it's coming out, and tell me it's coming out in like 3 months.
Yeah.
Show me your Mario games. I'm sure you have other Mario games in the pipeline. Give me like a Yoshi's World 3 or whatever. But I need to see games. I don't want to see gimmicks.
The only announcement that they could give where I would lose my shit, and I would run to 15 different Best Buys until I found a Switch just to go get is if they said, guys, remember that game company called Rare? You remember them? They're back.
GoldenEye Remastered?
They're back. Rare's back, and they're making our games.
The unfortunate part is, does Microsoft still own them? Or did Microsoft let them
I
free?
think
I have no idea.
I think they kind of folded or shut down or died or zombie mode right now.
Well, that
They're
is
not
the
doing so
only
hot.
way. That is the only announcement there
They
where
split
I
off to
am
the
so
ukulele.
pumped that it just, oh my God, I would lose my mind.
Just a side note, but is ukulele slated for Switch?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Well, at least they got that. So they do have a rare title coming to Switch. There you
Yeah.
go. Or the closest thing to a rare title you're going to get.
Yeah.
That's about as close as you're gonna get. Yeah. I mean, it will be interesting to watch all the rage and the craziness and the antics aside. It will be interesting to see what Nintendo does at this E3 because they've already launched the console. They've already announced most of their major titles that are coming up. So now it's going to be a question of, are they really going to go do a conference where they basically just show the same shit that we've already seen? You know, what are they going to do? Because I feel like for E3, a big thing for them right now is to give people a reason to buy this thing before the holiday season. They've got a big gap in time, and they need to get some promotional bits going to give people more of a reason to buy it. Now, obviously, the fact that Nintendo loves creating demand by building 3 consoles at a time on the moon and then shipping them via carrier pigeon to Earth, and that's great. But if they do want to ship more consoles, they're going to need games, and they're going to need to convince people that these are good games, right? It's just, so
That was a fucking late reaction to what you said. I'm like, I was just deciphering what you said, dude. And I'm just like, from the moon to carrier pigeon. And I'm thinking to myself, what did he just say? And then it soaked in. I said, this motherfucker, he always throws in these little fucking quippy little stupid things that just get me every time. Fuck you, dude. And I love you. Fuck.
Oh, thank you. I try. But that's pretty much what it feels like when it comes to them building consoles. It's friggin' brutal. So, you know, they get that. So that's what I think they need to do, is they need to have a reason for that to happen. Because I think the biggest problem the Wii U had is that there were such swaths of time between major releases, first-party titles, right? Like, people were waiting a year and a half in between some of these things to get to their next game, and then everything else was like another 50 Shades of partyware. So I think that's what I need. You know, I
Not
would
even
like
very
to see
good
from
parties.
them. No, there's just really bad kind of. Only good parties if you're in Japan and you're just smashed on sake and you're off work and it's like 2 a.m. and you're already been sloppy on the sidewalk and you're like, man, I could really, really go for playing pretend cowboys. Like, that would be kind of neat right now. So it's not really the show. So hopefully that's kind of what goes down for them, and I hope they do well because I want to see Nintendo do well. I don't want to be jaded asshole. You know, not even 40, but like already angry like a 40-year-old jaded man is that's on like an alcoholic bender. I want to be happy about Nintendo's position, and I want to see them be successful at the same time. So all the power to them. Hopefully it goes well. We'll have more about E3 when it comes up. I'm sure the E3 podcast is going to be pretty spectacular for us, so that'll be fun to talk about. But let's move on and step away from that to something else that is wildly successful right now. And that is PlayeRunknown Battlegrounds. This game has single-handedly. This is where we raged about Nintendo. You're gonna see the minor rage that Panic is capable of, because this is his trigger. This is his Tumblerina. Is PlayeRunknown. So this game, for me anyway, because I don't have my ear to the ground for this specific genre, this title. It kind of just came up, and I saw people playing it, and I actually mistook it for, did they just rename, you know, H1Z1 or whatever? King of the Hill. Like, I when I saw it, I was like, this is basically the same game, and it looked like it. I thought maybe they just rebranded it, but it's not, and it's. And apparently it is the shit, because when you go on Twitch and you see a game ahead of League of Legends, you know some big shit is going down, because nobody topples League of Legends, you know, day after day, and PlayeRunknown Battlegrounds has been up there battling with League for a while now. So we're going to talk about that and its success. I'm going to give this to Panic first, because before he gives himself an aneurysm, just thinking about it, I'm going to let him put it to words. So, Panic, what do you think about this genre, first of all, because as Jeff, I think, is the only one that played anything of these games for any length of time. So I want to hear from you what your take is on the genre, and then the success of this game and how you feel about that, because it's kind of crazy.
First of all, I'm going to apologize to Jeff that you had to that you even had to play these games. I don't understand. Like, it's just I don't understand. So the genre in general, it falls into survival games, which is then evolved into something that's extremely popular. The survival game, which is a battle royale, where you effectively get dropped into some zone, have to find weapons, and then kill everyone else and be the last one alive.
It's the Hunger Games.
The premise sounds, yeah, the Hunger Games. The premise sounds amazing, and honestly, it's a game type that I would love to play. But however, every single one of these games I've seen, what is it? You had DayZ, then you had H1Z1, then you had H1Z1 King of the Kill, you had like Battle Royale mode, now you have like freaking PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, and probably a half a dozen other imitators in this space. And all of them come out with the exact same goddamn bullshit titles. Early access survival game with building and all this other garbage. And fine, you're early access, but I have not seen any one of these games ever actually get finished. They release, they come out with a metric ton of bugs. They're janky as hell in netcode. They look like unpleasant games to play. They don't look very flashy graphically. You can see people jumping through or falling over. Like, states are all messed up in this game. They're just subpar developed games. But for some reason, every time one of these games come out, it shoots to the top of Twitch. Everyone's like, oh my God, this is the best game ever. We're going to play the shit out of this. And then a month later, boom, gone, next one. Oh, they stopped updating it. All right, let's wait for the next one to come out. And then every time on Steam, I'll think, I'm finally free. These games are gone. And then it'll just creep up on my feed. All new game, on sale, early access, survival game. And so something just flips in my head and I just get really angry. Now, I'm not conveying it. I'm more of the silent brooding angry type. You know, I don't outwardly rage. So like the quieter I am, the angrier I am. And every single time I see one of these, I feel like, why can't I rage like Jeff does? Why can't I have an Adam rant?
Well, I'm actually
can't get the feelings out.
I have to fully disagree with almost just about everything you're saying.
Oh no.
That was what you just preached. Some of it is true. There are a lot of these clone survival games that are coming out, and it's an obvious tactic from developers to make these games. It's basically a proof of concept that they're calling it. You go in, Hunger Games. They make a world, a map. They throw characters on there with weapons, and they say go kill each other. And if the game does well, we'll continue to update it, and so on and so forth. A lot of these games don't stem into anything unless they have backing from streamers. Now, here's the reason why PlayeRunknown is so big, and I also disagree with what you're saying in terms of they never get finished. King of the Kill, that is a complete game. That game is out. H1Z1 came out. It was that alpha, the open, then open beta, or however they did these things. You pay $20 to get in, goes on sale at certain points, so on and so forth. That game actually got finished. DayZ kind of started this train, and then there was another game that came out. I forget, World War Z or World Z or some shit game that came out that was like DayZ and H1 and ended up getting canceled. There's a lot of people pissed off. Total Biscuit went on one of his rants, so on and so forth. H1Z1 came out. They did the survival thing, the big $140,000 tournaments in it, and the thing drove a lot because this is the secret sauce. What I'm getting to is this, and why I'm okay with these games. A game like H1Z1 is going to be here for a long time. That game is successful. That game is a game. It's out. It's going to do great things. in terms of not esport, but making these tournaments, and they're always at cons, PAX East, TwitchCon. They have big booths. They get the community together, and that's whenever you can do that, I can't complain. And usually people that are playing the game play a lot of the game, so they're getting their $20 worth or $30 or however much the game is. They're usually not AAA title prices, and most people buy into them early because they want to get on the hype train. The main secret sauce to this is the streamers, and this is the Twitch phenomenon. This is why these games exist, because you got guys like Summit, you got guys like Josh OG and these other first-person shooter dudes that are really entertaining, and they make the game fun through their personality. The game isn't necessarily anything to write home about. Most of the games look like university students went and made this game as a passion project, and that was the show. But the real selling thing here is the streamers. And when you have guys like Summit who are extremely good at shooters, 2, entertaining and get people engaged and making the game more fun than what it is. When I played H1Z1, sure, it's a stupid game. I ran around for 8 hours a day shooting people with bow and arrows, but it was more than that. It was role-playing, voice acting, acting crazy, running into these other crazy characters, and just having fun with that. And so people just want to be part of that. And these big streamers are blowing them up. And these companies know, as long as they all do it. They all do it. They release the game and this closed beta shit. They go to the big streamers. They go, hey guys, guess what? You really want to be that flavor of the month game? You really want to get 50,000 views, 20,000 views? Here's a code. Go play your game. And then, of course, when a big guy plays the game, 20,000 people are watching. They're going to sell a couple thousand copies of the game. They get some traction, and then then other streamers that want to be like Lyric or Summit or whatever, they want to hop on the train too because they're going to get the splash over, and the games are fun, and they can show their personality. It's not hardcore competitive. It's have fun. Some people are competitive with those games, but it's more have fun. What can you bring to the table? The streamers are selling these games. The games aren't selling the games. And that's why they're good, and that's why I'm okay with them. Listen, at this point, if anybody's buying the game expecting it to be finished, they're idiots. I mean, no one's got a gun to your head and saying, pay the $20 early access, and we're gonna promise you a great finished product. Most people now have been burned one time or another by these types of games, and yet they're still going to go and buy them because their favorite streamers are playing them, and that's the show. So when you pull the trigger on that $20 at Steam for early access, don't expect the game to be finished, but go have fun with it. For $20, and you're going in, even if you have 1 or 2 great sessions, 8-10-hour session, for $20, I mean, that's not real. I spend more in sushi. It's not really that big of a deal. It's not like they're gouging you for $69.99. And here's the thing. They're rivaling things like League of Legends. They're bringing more people in, and they're creating Twitch stars. And that is great. That's going to be great for Twitch. It's great for the community. It's great for these developers. Sure, they are cutting corners. They are giving you bare bones, and I don't agree with any of that shit. But that's the business. They're going to spend as least amount of money as they can, and they're going to get us streamers to do all of the advertisement for them. And then once it gets so big, it's that snowball effect. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I don't think it's the simple fact that the game is huge. It's the streamers that are playing it that are huge. Once Summit stops playing Playerunknown, it's no longer the top 3 game. It goes down to the second row. The next person in line will be like 2,000 or 3,000 viewers, unless it's another Lyric or Josh OG or somebody else that has a 5 to 20,000 viewership. So it's usually 1 or 2 people that are anchoring this game. And I wouldn't be surprised if these games aren't paying these streamers exuberant amount of money, because if I was somebody like Summit, I'd be like, listen, guys, I'm selling this game like a motherfucker, and I want a piece of the pie. You guys got to pay me, because every time I go on the stream and I've got 50,000 people, you guys are selling thousands of copies of this shit, and I want something more than keys. So it's all on the streamers. It's all on the streamers.
feel like I just ordered a really amazing pizza. It showed up, and there was friggin' pineapple on it, Jeff. You're a friggin' pineapple on my pizza.
Hey, I'm just speaking the truth. I have fun with those
I agree
games,
with what you said. I agree with what you
that's
said.
it.
Like, I'm okay with the streamer side of it. It's just that I wish these games would actually get developed properly and get, like, yeah, they can slap a title saying, oh yeah, we finished it. But honestly, those games are like nowhere near finished when they say, oh, it's released.
Well, what are you looking for? Are you
they're-
looking for like a polished like Rainbow Six type shit? Like what
Not
exactly
even.
is
I'm
finished?
looking for, you know, where I can walk around and my guns don't disappear. I don't get stuck in crap. Like, I'm looking for like basic quality netcode that the experience is solid. But still, even when these games are released, you'll run into things. You can't pick things up. Think people are, like, jumping through things. You know, collisions are all wrong. It's all messed up. Like, you can see like people like vibrating on screens and stuff, like behind trees. It's just like it lacks polish at even a basic level. Like you said, it's like a bunch of college students got together and made these games.
Yeah. But it's okay. It's like, dude, what you're doing right now is you're going to the Expendables
My opinion.
and you're expecting John Wick, right? That's what you're doing. Listen, when we pay the $20 for this fucking shit game, we make the entertainment from it. And that's what makes it great. It's what you do with it. You play with your friends. You get on comms. You hear somebody in the background going, China #1, China #1. And you laugh and you have a good time. It's no different than going to the movie theater and watching Transformers. We know the movie's fucking garbage. We know what the explosions. We know it's an hour and a half too long, but we give it our money because at the end of the day, it's cheap entertainment and it is what it is. It's when you go in there and you're expecting more quality for a lesser quality thing, that's when it becomes a conflict of interest. And I go in there knowing what I'm getting and I'm usually satisfied at spending my $20.
Hey, Jeff. Speaking of movies.
Yeah.
What's hot fire in movies right now, bro?
All right, let's do it. What's hot in movies right now?
Yeah, bro. This is movie talk time. We gotta move on.
we're
You two have been
We're
sissy
switching
fighting
up.
for the last friggin' 15 minutes. We're blasting through our time frame, so we got to get this show on the road.
Okay. All right.
What we got?
Well, I haven't really seen that many movies this week. I didn't go see Power Rangers. I heard mixed reviews on it, so that's going to be a Netflix movie for me. I did go see Beauty and the Beast, and I did go see Life. Life is kind of like Alien. It's set in space. They find life on, obviously no spoilers. They find life on Mars, and they bring it onto a ship, and they've got to do experiments with it and see what it's all about, and bring some of that information to Earth. And then, obviously shit goes crazy. So that was a really good movie. But in terms of what's like out right now, Ghost in a Shell just came out. I'm going to go watch that movie tomorrow night. I hear good things about it. Mixed things. I think some of the hardcore people for Ghost in the Shell.
I'm hearing a bit of both sides.
I'm hearing the other side mainly.
Yeah, so I think the people that are really into Ghost in a Shell, a lot of them are saying they got the vision of it right, but the movie itself just didn't live up to the expectations that they have, and that's what normal fanboys do in really anything
of course,
that comes out. But I think for the average moviegoer that's going to see the movie, they say it's it's good. Some people really like it. Some people was okay. But I'm not really hearing like, hey, I hated this movie. It was garbage. So beyond that, we also, last night, we mentioned something that was coming out that we wanted to quickly talk about. I know that there was an announcement for a new standalone Spawn movie. And then there was something else.
We were talking about the DC shit show, the 170-minute marathon.
Yes, let's talk about that. So, for those that don't know, the Justice League just announced that the movie is 170 minutes long.
I'm sorry, Jeff, come again? Can you say that one more time?
Justice League just yesterday announced that their superhero Justice League movie, we're talking DC right now. DC.
The Batmans and the Batmans and all that.
Yeah, DC. I'm going to say that one more time. DC has a 170-minute superhero movie coming out.
120?
No, 170.
120.
As in almost 3 hours. As in
so
The
like
Wolf
70
on
minutes?
Wall Street
Oh, okay.
length. As
the
in
fuck?
Lord of the Rings length.
What the fuck are they trying to pull at 170 minutes?
So is that what, like
Are
5
they
minutes
even
per hero that
paying
they're
their
cramming into
editor?
this?
Are they even paying an editor? Or are they just putting everything uncut onto the friggin' reel and putting it into the
Film it and go,
theater
boys. Film it
at
and go.
170 minutes. What in the fuck? I think last night I was like, what are they trying to be? The Godfather? Who the
you know
hell
what?
does 170 minutes
5
superhero
movies
movie?
in 3 hours. That's what we're getting. 5 movies in 3 hours.
Well,
Plus-
here's the problem. Here's the problem, guys. And I talked about this in my Batman v Superman review. Is you had Wonder Woman, you had Batman, you had who else was in there? It's such a forgettable movie. There's another one, Superman. Fuck. I mean, you've got all these characters, and then you've got this quick little introduction of Flash and Aquaman, and you've got bad dudes and all this other nonsense, and we get the Justice League, and now in order for them to do justice to the characters, pardon the pun,
catch up.
they
well
have
done.
to have a 170-minute movie. Dude, they have sucked. I'm just gonna give you a lineup here.
they need an intermission in there at that point.
I'm gonna give you.
You have to go in and dehydrate yourself before
Well, that's
you
what I
watch
said.
it.
I was like,
Otherwise you're not gonna miss it.
normally you got to use the washroom maybe once in a movie if it's pushing the 2-hour mark. If you had a drink or something, you usually feel the urge. You got to suck it up hard to stop it unless you've got one of those monster bladders. You're in there for 170 minutes. You're taking a shit. You're thinking about shaving. You might have a nap. You might write your thesis, and then you come back to the movie again because it's still going. Like, how long do they need? I mean, I know that they're doing, like you're about to probably say, is that they're squeezing in an introduction to characters that required their own movies, which the Avengers did.
Mm-hmm.
But DC is like, man, we got to play catch up.
Yep.
Let's just smash all this shit in. What could possibly go wrong?
Everything can go wrong, and the reason why, listen, if this was Marvel saying they have a 170-minute movie, I would still go, whoa, 170 minutes? What the
It's
fuck?
a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I'd say whoa, but depending on the property, okay, you know what? Okay, I'll take more of this. I'll take more Captain America. If this was a 170-minute Thor movie, I would shoot myself. But if it's something like, the Avengers or like a Civil War type thing where there's a whole bunch of characters and stuff like that and all these different story arcs, I could almost be on board. I would still be reserved about it. But this is DC we're talking about. We're talking about a fucking, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad. These guys haven't made a coherent film ever on the screen, and now with the success of the Avengers and Marvel and what they've done, they want their own DC universe, and they need to bring in all these characters because the new thing in Hollywood is this: if you don't make $1 billion at the box office, you're a disaster. If you're a superhero movie, you don't make $1 billion, you're a disaster. If you're Fast and the Furious, you don't make $1 billion, that's a fail. If you're Transformers, you don't make $1 billion, that's a fail. And here's the reality: DC, they can't make good, coherent films. They haven't done it yet. I don't know if it's the writers, the directors, a combination of both. The fact that they're trying to catch up with Marvel, they're trying to do what Marvel does, but they want to take a darker approach, but then they realize the movie's too dark, so then they redo a bunch of scenes. They try to lighten it up a bit, and it's just a mess. And to think we're getting 170 minutes? I love Ben Affleck as Batman, but Jesus Christ, 170 minutes?
That's so long.
At 170 minutes, your pacing and your storyline has to be like spot on. You have to have your like mini climax, and you gotta like calm it down a little bit. And your pacing has to be like spot on. Or one, people are gonna be falling asleep, or two, people are gonna be leaving. I suspect people are gonna be leaving because this movie is just gonna be way too damn long, and I guarantee you, it's probably it's gonna have serious pacing problems. With each hero getting like 5 minutes on screen if you're doing a 170-minute DC movie.
Yeah, it's gonna be the Flash is gonna be on screen, but he's gonna be going at full speed, so you won't actually see him because he's the Flash, and then they'll just say that he was in the movie, but he was moving the whole time, and you you just couldn't possibly see.
Probably
him.
some
He's
Elastic
there,
Man, maybe some Green Arrow. Throwing all those for good.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see how well Wonder Woman does, and you know,
I would love to see them do well because those characters are fucking awesome characters, right? You want to see them. I think that's maybe some of the aggravation for me is I wanted to see some of these characters get their own movie,
I want good movies,
and not rush it. You know, Marvel is ahead of you, but that doesn't mean that you need to play catch up to get to them. If you keep making these movies the way you're making them, not only are you going to blow through all of your available material just to get there, but it's not going to be good. And then you're going to have to go back and try and bring yourself back up into the 6-foot hole you just dug yourself. So, you know, maybe just pull it back. It's gonna be like Spider-Man, but the entire DC universe, where we've got like every 5 hours there is another Spider-Man movie being put into production just to try and make one good Spider-Man movie. It's just never fucking ending.
If this was Christopher Nolan's 170-minute adaptation of this, I would be
Nolan. You get to go
I would
see
be
it,
okay.
yeah.
I would be okay with this. I'd say, you know what? I have faith in Christopher Nolan, but ever since they lost Christopher Nolan, they have been lost. Period. Like it has just.
They chose
and listen.
Snyder.
I know I sound like a DC hater. I'm not. I love the characters, and in fact, I listen. I gave Batman v Superman a 7 out of 10. I didn't hate it as much as other people. I gave Man of Steel a 7 out of 10. I didn't hate it as much. There's redeeming qualities in all of these films, even in Suicide Squad. There are things that I enjoyed, but when the bar is set so high, when you have great films like Civil War and you have the first Avengers and you've got just some great Marvel movies, I just Logan, Deadpool, you've got these movies that are taking risks and are just opening up the possibilities to the point where everybody copies them. Everybody wants to do this shit now. And that's not a bad thing, but try and be original and get some good talent behind the camera. I'm tired of seeing Zack Snyder fucking do more lens flaring and all this other shit that he does. Give us somebody that understands filmmaking beyond a big budget, make $1 billion, throw some popcorn in your face. It wasn't a bad time, but it wasn't a great time. Give us some real good shit. And at 170 minutes, I guarantee it's going to be a $500 million shit fest. That's what it's going to be. It's just going to be money thrown at the screen, and there'll be some really cool action sequences, but it's going to be a mess. That's
what else?
You'll have time. You'll have time to go take a shit.
You'll have lots of time. You know what else? You know what else has horrible pacing? This podcast. We have more things to talk about, so we're going to just keep going. We're going to be a little bit over, but not by much today. That's okay. We had a lot to talk. This is a passion project today. We should just call this episode The Passion. This is all this podcast has been. It's just straight passion. As long as that movie is, you know what else is longer? Wrestlemania. That thing goes on longer and longer and longer. People have been talking about how long Mania is now, and it just seems to be the never-ending train. Like they have like an even longer pre-show now, and the whole thing's like 5 to 7 hours or some mammoth length, and it's insane.
It's an event.
Yeah,
it's a Super Bowl of wrestling.
It's like NASCAR. It's just basically like you get a beer and you sit a bunch of food. You go, you make a day of it. You go out for a bit. You come back. They're still going. You just do whatever you want to do and then watch some wrestling. But we just wanted to talk about, out of all three of us, none of us watch a lot of wrestling, but I know personally, I used to watch more back in the day, and I still like catching Mania. Jeff's going to go over to his buddy's place, watch Mania this weekend. I'm going to be watching Mania this weekend. I don't know if Panic's going to pick it up, but, there's some good stuff on this. Whether you follow wrestling or not, I don't know if there are folks. I'm sure we have a number of people, but this card is actually pretty damn good. And there's some notables here that I think everybody maybe thought last year would have been, but for real, I'm going to say the first thing I want to talk about, in case we don't get around to it, is the fact that this might be Undertaker's last WrestleMania. people have been saying that for like 20 years, but for real,
It might
I
actually
feel
happen.
like this.
Yeah.
I feel like this might actually be the last one, and it angers me a bit if it is, because he is up against Roman Reigns, who is my least favorite wrestler, period, of all time. There is not a decade of wrestling that has existed in which I have chosen a wrestler that I wanted to see become a janitor more than Roman Reigns. This is one of the most... It's not that he's a talentless hack. He's an athletic dude, but he is terrible on the mic. He has the personality of a Rock, and not the good Rock either, and he's got to be able to get put out in front, and Vince McMahon, for whatever reason, Vince is a genius. This man is one of the most intelligent business people on the planet Earth, and for whatever reason, he sees something in Roman Reigns that literally no one else around him sees. And here we are. We've gotten to the point now where they've got to take signs away from people in the friggin' arenas that are like, fuck you, Roman, get bent. Like, just, you got to get rid of these signs. They've got to put over cheer tracks where people are booing Roman Reigns. Like, and yet here we are. And now he's fucking fighting Taker at Mania for what could be Taker's last fight to attempt to put over Roman Reigns. And if Taker can't put you over, retire. Go back home, raise your children, get a desk job, or work at a Denny's. I don't care what the fuck you do, but if Taker can't get you over, you've failed. And I swear to God, if Roman Reigns beats Taker and it's his last WrestleMania and they don't give Taker a win to go out and it's to this bum, I was already mad when they gave Taker's loss to Brock Lesnar, who's been toes in and toes out of the WWE for so long now, it's whatever. This is almost insulting. If I'm Taker, I would probably be fucking angry right now, regardless of how much money I'm making, because this is like getting spit in the face. You got to go to Mania, and you've got to imagine that you might be losing to Roman Reigns as the Undertaker. What the fuck is that?
I think you summed it up perfectly, dude. I
What is
have
that?
nothing to add to that.
You want to know what I'm excited for WrestleMania? Jim Ross is commentating a match.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they haven't announced which one, but he's coming back to commentate a match.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. All right, well, now
Can
I'm
you
ready.
imagine him commentating? Can you imagine him commentating Undertaker's last match?
I was going to say, that would make it even worse, because that's really awesome that Jim would be casting that. But for Jim to have to cast Undertaker Roman Reigns,
I
that's
don't
the
know,
last
like,
one.
Obviously, I don't know if you guys heard or not, but his wife just passed away just a few days ago. So
Whose?
I'm not sure. Jim Ross's wife, Jan. She just passed
that's
away.
awful.
So maybe he will make an appearance. Maybe he won't.
Dude, that dude
But
will show up.
we'll
He's a
see.
consummate professional in the wrestling business. Those guys show up. Fucking Kurt Angle, read an article on him last night, actually. Kurt Angle did that, like, epic marathon match the same night or the night after his sister overdosed on heroin. Like, these guys in this business are a different breed that live and die for wrestling. They fucking give everything, and usually, in some cases, they actually do. They off themselves in the process. But I imagine Jim will still be there, and if not, who cares? The guy's a legend. He's an absolute legend. He could cast that from a cell phone. I wouldn't care. I'd still listen to it. But the other notable ones, just to not take too much time up here so we can move on and get some questions from our Patreons as well. Notable ones from people that I actually get excited to watch from the newer crowd. You know, the people that aren't from the 90s and 80s still wrestling at 104 years old. I do look forward to watching Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. I'm not a big Orton guy, but I am a big Bray Wyatt fan. I think he's one of the best gimmicks and mic men that they have right now, by a large fucking margin. So few people have an honest to goodness wrestling gimmick that works within wrestling and isn't just, you know, I'm the next meat stick that's going to go out and wrestle in front of 50,000 people. This guy's doing the theatrics. It's almost like Taker in the theatrical level of which he takes it. So that's going to be fun to watch. And I'm also looking forward to watching Despite it being a bit of a gong show, I'm sure it's probably going to be like a 4-second long match again. Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar is going to be pretty fun. Because Goldberg, as dumb as it was in WCW,
Clash of Titans.
Yeah, as dumb as his run was in WCW, it's still fun to hear the whole crowd chant Goldberg as he's coming out and he's fucking spitting and snotting and fucking growling as he kicks his fucking door open, the green room, and he friggin' boots it open. He's like, and he just fucking grunts for like 45 seconds, and it actually takes so long that the crowd stops chanting his name because it just keeps going. And he eventually gets out on the stage, and the sparks get, and he inhales it, and he breathes it out like a fucking bull, and it's just awesome. It's fucking awesome to watch, and it's fun to see him back, for sure. And then the only one I'm really looking forward to is Dean Ambrose, who I think is one of the few people.
Sounds like you're looking forward to pretty much every match on the WWE WrestleMania 33, bro.
Well, I'm gonna watch the whole thing. There's like 13 main events. I'm talking about like 3 of them, and again, it's like 7 hours worth of wrestling. But yeah, I'm looking forward to those matches. I think they'll be fun. But is either of you two have anything you're looking forward to watching other than Taker? Or are you guys just along for the ride?
I don't care about any of it, to be honest with you.
I'm going to be at a wedding.
Just
oh, yeah, Panic said, oh, you get wrecked by a wedding. Man, I'm going to be the one wrestling scrub watching this. I'm excited for it. Anyway, let's move on. I've talked a bunch now. It's time for you guys to get some questions for us. I'm going to toss it over to whoever has the window up first for what the questions are going to be this week for this segment of Tech Support, where Patreons level $10 and higher get to ask us questions weekly. We pull a couple, we talk about them, we answer them the best we can. Last week we talked about hot dogs, yes or no, on the sandwich front. That got real. What else do we got this week? I'm excited to see what we've got. So I'm going to give it to Panic first. What is our first question going to be this week?
This question comes from James Holiday. Favorite gaming memory or moment of triumph? I actually know this one for myself. I'm going to go with the control room on what's the highest difficulty in GoldenEye? Like 00 Agent or whatever? No.
00 Agent, yeah.
007. Yeah, it was like 00 Agent or whatever. When you have to, like,
I think
Natalia.
007 was just like you could actually set things manually. So I think 00 or something like that was.
Yeah, it's when you had to freaking protect Natalia for like 10 minutes against like an endless swarm of people. And I managed to finish it on my like 50th try on the hardest difficulty. And I'm like, I'm never going to be this awesome again.
Dude, that game is hard on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
That game gives you no quarter. If you, and I mean, like,
you're low on ammo at that point. You got to protect the NPC is not even in your control.
Exactly. And we all know how phenomenal the AI was in that game for the people that you were hauling around with you the entire time. So that is a pretty good moment. Not that it is mine, but I was so hyped when I got the invincibility cheat for doing the facility in like the 45 seconds or whatever dumb number was, 2 minutes 15 or whatever they wanted you to do. That was a pretty high point for me. GoldenEye was such a good game. So fucking good, man. Oh my God, it's good. Mr. Black.
How about you, Jeff?
What's yours?
That's really tough, man, because I've had a lot of crazy
Sonic.
triumphs. You know what, man? I'm gonna go and say getting Grandmasters in StarCraft.
That's true. That was a long haul.
Is probably my greatest achievement. It wasn't when I first got GM. I didn't go crazy. It was just like, I knew I was there. It was just getting in, waiting for a spot to open up. It was more of a formality. I was constantly playing GMs, and it was waiting, playing, and eventually, when you're sitting up at number 1 or number 2 Masters in all of NA, and there's no spots open, you're pretty much Grandmasters. You have to wait until somebody gets out. But if you're not playing, say if you stop playing and a spot opens up, and then that third or fourth person plays a few more games and they just go past you, they're going to take that spot. So it was just nonstop grinding. I knew I was there for about 2 months. Pretty much during that whole season, it was just a matter of getting it. So when I finally got it, it wasn't like, yeah! It was just a weight off my shoulders. We finally did it. And then, of course, I got Grandmaster a couple times after that. But that was definitely the biggest, triumph I've ever had in a video game. In terms of going crazy, beating not even Sonic, beating Solgrim was even harder than Sonic. So that was probably my biggest like get fucked game, like amped, it's over, let's go. But definitely GM.
Yeah. I have a couple. I have a couple. I mean, I'm not the type of guy that goes out and seeks particularly difficult things to do in video games because I try and relax when I play video games. But I guess if I had to pick a couple, one would be finishing the original Halo by myself on Legendary. That was one of the harder things I did, especially the library was just stupid.
Oh my God.
On Legendary. That took me a long time to beat. So that was kind of that was my fuck you moment in a video game was Legendary Library. I've never hugged a shotgun so closely in my entire life in a game, and I probably won't ever again. So that was a good one. And then the only time I ever took games seriously were back in the day and when I had enough spare time to take games seriously at a competitive nature, and I did a lot of racing games and I loved doing hot laps and stuff in Forza and whatnot, and I had top 10 times on 7 or 8 tracks in the world on Forza 2, and that was my peak as far as taking games seriously goes. Like getting into, especially because I'm a scrub and I can't drive, physically incapable of driving manual in real life. I can't translate that to a video game and drive manual, so I'm stuck driving automatic. And anybody who plays racing games knows that while you're not at an extraordinary disadvantage, when it comes to shaving time off a hot lap, that can be a pretty big, handicap to have. So to get into top 10 times with an automatic was pretty fucking rough. Really good. But especially on like the Nürburgring, that was a crazy one. That was probably my biggest one, was getting on the top 10 for that. I did it in the Mercedes-Benz CLK.
Mercedes.
I can't remember the full. Yeah, Mercedes-Benz CLK. It's one of their hyper cars. I can't remember the full moniker for it because Mercedes doesn't know how to name cars.
GTR.
Yeah, I think there's a big silver one that looks like a spaceship. I did it in that.
Yeah, it's a CLK GTR.
Yeah, and I did it
Mercedes.
but doing hashtag Mercedes, but doing Nürburgring, which is like a 6-minute plus lap, like 6:15, 6:30, is the longest 6 minutes of your racing life because there's so many times that you can fuck up on that track, and if you mess up, you get a restart, and it's brutal. So that was my two for sure. But fucking Library Halo, man. Even in co-op, that level sucked. It's fucking brutal. It was one of the worst things to do, but hey. That was good. That was good stuff. What's our next question, Jeff? You are the choice for number 2.
Is it okay? This one comes from Mark Blackhorn, one of our.
Oh, Marky Mark.
I don't know what level tier. Actually, I think I can.
Marky Mark is our editor.
Name. Okay, so he's a $10 pledger.
Yes.
He said, is it appropriate to CGI long dead actors into present-day movie sequels? Peter Cushing's family was involved in the making of Tarkin in Rogue One. What if no family member still lived? Is it still okay? So, what do you think
this is going to be something that's going to get more and more complicated as time goes on, because we've only just now gotten to the point where we can kind of do that with pretty good accuracy and make it look enough that people can just bypass it. Yeah, you notice it, but it's not like so obvious. It's not like seeing Gumby stroll out onto the fucking screen and be like, "Hey guys!" So, and so the longer this goes, obviously the scenario you just labeled there at the end of that question, where nobody in the family is around, or like the immediate family is around to ask anymore, in terms of the morality of that, I don't know. I mean, I think it depends on how it's done in the movie. If it's done tastefully and it's done within the confines of the movie, because it would have been hard to make the movie work or not, or work otherwise, like if they couldn't make it necessarily be as cohesive without it, then I think I'm okay with it. I don't want to see an entire movie with that shit. I think that's maybe taking it a bit too far. But if in the case of Rogue One, where we see the bits and pieces and we got the Leia and we got what's his name? Is General something or whatever? What's his
Tarkin.
official title? Yeah, Tarkin.
Tarkin.
So
Grand Moff Tarkin.
yeah, so he's such a, and the thing about him is he's such a unique face, right? Like you can't mistake him at all. So to have him be there, I think added quite a bit. And could you have done Rogue One without that? Yeah, probably. But at the same time, it definitely, for me, it added something. And for somebody that watched the old movies, it was kind of like, that's pretty awesome to see. But I don't want to see a whole movie about it. I think that would be taking it too far. And I think it would be doing the actor that is no longer with us a disservice to attempt to do an entire movie with their likeness, or a major section of a movie with their likeness.
I feel like personally that's just kind of disrespectful. Again, with the way they did it with Tarkin, I'm completely okay with it. The family was on board. In the case of like it's been a long time, I feel like let sleeping dogs lie. Like, you know, if the person has passed away, they've done their time. You don't need to have their likeness in the movie. You know, if the family's not on board or the family's not around, don't do it. That's my take on it, at least. Like for the way they did it with Tarkin, perfectly cool with it. Perfectly fine.
I'm right on board with you. I think you know, obviously our Princess Leia passed away, and she is obviously a huge part of Star Wars. She had finished filming Episode 8, so they didn't have to do anything. But obviously they're likely expecting her to be for Episode 9 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And other properties, you know, around Leia. I mean, even like distribution of toys and merchandise and all these other things. That is fresh. So, you know, when you're in the middle of production, same with Paul Walker when he passed away in middle of shooting, those sort of things are okay. Obviously, you want to get the family's permission and their blessing. And I'm sure that there are contracts that are signed, probably even more so now that this technology is available. There's probably going to be clauses in pretty much every Hollywood contract saying, hey, if you pass away or you are unable to film, you know, you go to rehab or you just go crazy or whatever the case, you die, we have the ability to be able to use you, you know, CGI'd, basically get a like actor and then do the whole face recognition thing that they do. I think that's fine. But when it comes to like his question, he's like, you know, after the family members are dead, there's nobody there, no immediate family, then no. I mean, I actually think it's almost disrespectful to even ask or even, you know, to even go, even if a family member is still alive, say somebody's son or daughter is still living, and it's been 20 years since you've made a whatever movie, you know, say an Avengers movie or something, and a character died, or say Hugh Jackman, for example, you know, say 50 years down the road, they want to reboot it or they want to do a send-off or something like that. He's no longer with us or old and he can't do it. They did do that whole, actually, I'm not going to say anything because I almost spoiled part of Logan. But I think that it's disrespectful to even ask, to even go, is it okay that we do this? Even if they're willing to pay, just let it go. Find somebody else. There's plenty of talented actors out there that are looking for a chance. You know, Hollywood reboots movies all the time anyway, so what's the big deal? And you know what? The audience members aren't stupid. When somebody dies, an audience member goes to the theater, they're not going, my fucking God, man, this isn't Princess Leia. This is stupid. I want to see Princess Leia. I mean, obviously they know she passed away. The actor or the actress passed away, so they understand that this kind of has to be done if they want the character to move on. That no one's going to go crazy. But I'll take it an even step further, and I'll end on this. If now that Princess Leia isn't living, they seriously need to wrap up her character and move on. The character needs to go away forever. That character was amazing, iconic. Don't try and do a prequel and bring a young Leia. Don't try and make an older Leia. Don't try and redo the Star Wars movies, reboot it, and bring another Leia. Let the character go. She did a great job, and that goes really for any character, big or small. If the actor or actress is dead, let the character die with them. Of course, if you're not in the middle of production. And you still need family blessing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think that surmises that awfully well. We can wrap it up on that one. We're not too far over, considering the passion today. The amount of passion involved, we still managed to keep it within reason. So that was well done. So as always, we are going to say, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you listening already, you probably already know, but if not, hey, we're going to mention it anyway. You can catch us on iTunes, you can catch us on Google Play Music, YouTube, here on Twitch at twitch.tv/technicalalpha if you want to see us live every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'd love to have you if you have a moment to stop on by, or if you have nothing else going on for that Friday evening. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Do we have any closing thoughts, gentlemen?
I'll say a little plug. We are going to be ordering the merchandise real soon for all you Patreon supporters out there. So the ones that are getting pins, stickers, I'm going to be doing hit you up with that noises. So you'll be getting recorded voices from me that you can use as an alarm. You can send it to a friend. You can make it as crazy as you like, and I'll do my best to create a noise like how Adam asks me every StarCraft cast. So we're gonna be doing that, and it's almost about to turn over. I think the Patreon is the first day of the month or the second day of the month. So you guys, by the time you see this on YouTube, if you guys want to get in on the first wave of merchandise and you're thinking about throwing money at the screen, go there and do that, or you're gonna have to wait another month before we send out another shipment of new people that are coming in. So just to let all you people know that have been supporting us, thanks again. Product is coming. We're really excited. I think we're going to get a t-shirt or a sweater coming up too. We're going to start up a campaign for that so that you guys will be able to have some swag. But the pins, stickers, and stuff, they look amazing. Really high-quality stuff. We're not skimping out on this, so we're really excited about that. And I'm excited to hear what you guys, what kind of noises you guys come up for me to do for you. So go do that. And once again, if you're listening to iTunes, please go and give us that 5-star rating and leave a review. That is, YouTube's got weird metrics on how you grow. iTunes is ratings and reviews. The more you get, the better we go up the higher we go up in the list, which gives us more visibility. And like I said last time, tell a friend, tell one friend about the podcast, whether you send them a clip on YouTube, the TLDW, whatever the case may be, introduce us to them, and do your part that way, and we'll keep doing our part by showing up every Friday and hopefully improving each and every week with our podcast. We're still learning. We also have a guest coming on next week as well. We'll be announcing that. And go follow us on Twitch. Make sure you do that so that you can watch this live. I know it's a lot of shameless, but hey, there it is.
Sometimes you gotta get shameless. Panic, what do you got? You got any last words, sir?
I think the podcast is going amazing, but if you guys have any feedback, do feel free to let us know. I know you guys probably know that our Twitter handles are actually on our names, on our little face plates, but in case you didn't know what that little birdie actually meant, you can follow us on all of those Twitter handles there and send us your feedback directly. We're all pretty active on Twitter. I know Adam and I are currently in a war over GIFs and how good we are. So, yeah. See you
definitely.
next time.
No, that's definitely.
And remember, before Adam, you close it out.
5-star
when you give us criticism on the podcast, it is so welcome, and we have listened to a lot of it, and we've made changes for the better. But also, we will ask you to not compare us to the Joe Rogan podcast. I have heard this about a million times. No, we cannot go on the Joe Rogan podcast and chill with him. No, we cannot give that level of production and the amazing guests that he has on that makes his show great. Obviously that's an idol of mine, not even just in podcasting, but just as an entertainer. As much as we would love to have that type of quality, we are on week 3, so give us a bit of time. But if you guys have some realistic criticism, feel free to drop it either on Twitter or you can shoot it in the comment section of the YouTube. I know Adam reads them all, and I've actually been reading every comment as well on the podcast stuff because I'm pretty invested in this, and I really want to make this grow as well. But that's it for me.
Are you sure?
I am.
You got it all?
Done. I'm done.
Done? You done, bro? All right, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you
Take us
guys
home.
once again for stopping by here on Twitch to watch us this week. And for those of you listening at home later on, thank you guys for listening. Really do appreciate it. And hopefully you guys have been enjoying all the madness. Until we see you next week at the same time, same bat channel. This has been NovaWar.
I'm MaximusBlack.
I'm PanicSwitched.
And we'll see you guys soon. Have a good one, guys. Peace. Actually, wait. Hold on. Whoa. Pull that back, Jeff. Pull it back. I still have to read some names. Big thanks to our Patreon producers, Beastall, Mr. Miyagi, Corey K, Toto Steel, Naily, J.A., Matt D, Derek P, Jonathan A, Ryan M, Ice Wolfie, and Beastly Barlow. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And now that is it for another podcast here at Technical Alpha. Have a good one, guys. Peace out.